Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a solo hot tent overnighter in kind of one of my DIY contraptions that I've got here. So this is a backpacking tent that I've added a stove jack to over a year ago, and I really enjoy it just with the entryway, and it is a backpacking tent I can use with or without the hot tent wood stove. So that's going to be the shelter for this evening. I do have a number of pieces of gear that I still have to get in there. My sleeping bag, my top quilt, and of course I forgot to put the ground sheet underneath the tent, so I'm going to have to reach under and put that under there. One unfortunate thing I just noticed, I ripped the stuff sack to my top quilt, so I had the stove packed in my backpack out of the bag, and a sharp edge ripped the stuff sack. Luckily my top quilt is totally fine, it's not ripped at all, but I'm going to have to stitch that up when I get home, so close call on that one, but I'm very happy that I didn't rip out the down. So I'm going to get my cooking stuff and my sleeping stuff inside of the tent, kind of get organized here, and then I think it's going to be time for a quick coffee because it is rather chilly out today. It's going to be going down to 4 to 5 degrees Celsius tonight, and today's high is going to be 18, but it's already below 18 degrees Celsius right now. So it is starting to cool down, and we're on the edge of a lake in one of my favorite locations. So it's bound to get windy and cold out here on this trip. So I'm going to finish getting unset or unpacked here and get all set up and bring you guys back for some coffee. Okay guys, so the first order of business to getting coffee ready is I need firewood. I'm not going to be doing a big fire outdoors, but I do need a little bit of wood to go in the wood stove right now because I don't have a canister stove. So I am going to have the campfire outside. There is some wood left cut split, and it looks like it's fairly dry from the last people, so that'll certainly help out, but I'm not going to need a major fire for supper, and if it does get windy, I don't want all the embers blowing into the side of the tent, obviously, so I'm going to primarily try and have most of the fire inside of the wood stove, and I'll be able to get my kettle and pots and stuff on top of the stove there and safely be able to have a fire and cook. So I am going to have to collect a little bit of firewood off in the distance. I might as well do all of it right now and get it done and out of the way for the outdoor fire and the indoor fire, and then I'll sit down and have a nice coffee. So I've got my saw, let's go get some firewood. Alright, so I've got the outdoor fire lay prepped and ready to go for later on this evening. I went ahead and kind of taken all the burned bits out, and there is quite a nice bottom of charcoal in this fire pit right now. So that's going to be a very, very nice mellow burning fire once we get it established. But one thing I do want to do tonight is I actually brought my Flint and Steel kit, and I haven't done Flint and Steel in probably quite a while on the channel, thinking about it now. So I'm going to do Flint and Steel to light the outdoor fire. I do have DIY wax cotton pads and a box of matches for the wood stove. I find that's the easiest method of getting my stove going. And outdoor fire, I'm going to mix it up a bit. So I brought my Flint and Steel. We're going to do Flint and Steel outside. I'm also going to be burning all this beautiful charcoal and pre-burned wood. This stuff is just absolutely dry. It's going to burn really well. So I'm going to save this for later on tonight when it's a little bit darker, because I only have enough wood for probably, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours of fire out here. And then hop inside of the tent and enjoy the wood stove. So this is all set and ready to go. I'm going to turn my attention to the wood stove now, get a small fire going in there, get the kettle on top, and make up some hot coffee. All right, guys, hot cup of coffee is on the go right now, and it is definitely good. I gotta say, there is a little bit of a chill in the air. It's not cold enough to put my sweater on, but there is a chill enough that I can actually sit in this area close to the stove and feel comfortable. So I'm very excited for this evening. I hope the temperature drops really, really low. We're not gonna get frost, but hopefully within the next few days, possibly maybe even week, hopefully we actually get down to frost, because I am itching for some frost and some really colder weather. So this is just kind of my quick fix right now, early fall time, break out the stove, do all the testing, kind of get reacquainted with things. So with that all aside, I've got enough firewood in here to last probably 2 nights, to be totally honest. I don't need the stove to stay warm. I've got my sleeping pad and I've got my down top quilt inside of here. I'm going to be more than warm enough. But I do want to be burning wood just for the aesthetics and to cook later on in here as well. And it's just fun, right? We've been waiting so long to get back in a hot tent season, and now we're just about there, so why not break out the stove and have some fun with it? I've got all my small wood on this side. Now I am going to be breaking that pile into 2 piles, basically. I'm going to put some aside for morning, and then I'm going to use the rest this evening. And the same thing with the wood on the opposite side of the stove. I know you guys can't see it right now. I'm going to be splitting that up into rounds and splits, so some rounds and some split for the morning. I'm going to put all the morning firewood on this side and all the evening firewood on the right-hand side, where I'm right-handed. It's more of a dominant reach. So that way I'll have wood set aside for morning, no problem, and then I know what I can burn throughout the night. And have some fun, basically. So I'll probably make hot chocolate in here later on this evening. I am going to be cooking supper on the stove as well, so all this wood will definitely be getting used up this trip. I don't think there'll be anything left over, but for now, I'm going to enjoy my hot cup of coffee sitting right here. Got a beautiful view of the stove. I've got the lakefront all in front of the entire tent. Definitely liking this location. So cheers, guys. I'll bring you guys back when coffee's done. Okay guys, bringing you inside of the tent. I'm just kind of lounging inside right now, and still got my coffee on the go. So I got a little bit of coffee in my cup, and I've actually got a little bit in my French press, which I might as well set on top of the stove there. So I'm gonna let this burn really low and slow, and hopefully you guys can see that over top of my legs. Now the camera angle is a little wonky. The stove looks like it's sideways. It's actually not, it's totally level, but with the camera angle and everything, it looks a little wonky in camera. So this is the inside of the tent. So this is the view that I have all day, all night, and all morning to myself. And this is why I love camping here so much, because the sun sets in that direction and it rises behind me. So in the morning time, I have all the light hitting right in front of me in these trees, which is nice golden color. And then in the evening, I'm going to have a nice sunset right out over there, if there is a sunset tonight. But typically, I will sit in here in the evening and just absolutely awesome area. So really like coming here, but I wanted to show you guys inside of the tent what it looks like, what I've got going on here. So in the vestibule area, I did do a little bit of tidying up and cleaning and kind of rearranging. I put all my cooking stuff over on this side, so I've got my kettle and stuff sitting over here, and all the firewood on that side. I'm going to leave it that way tonight, but I'm just going to make 2 separate piles for nighttime wood and morning time firewood. And that way I know what's what. I got my shoes off to the side. Now you guys will notice that my backpack is inside with me. And the reason for that is because I love it too much to leave it outside. And there is a story with that backpack. It took me over 2 months to get that backpack. And there was one on sale, and I think everybody in Canada probably hates me that was looking at that backpack, because I followed it for 2 months. I checked it 4 times per day, and it finally came in stock. And there was one, and I bought it. I bought it right away. So all those people out there that were on Amazon looking for that backpack, probably thinking, you got it. Yeah, this guy got it. I'm sorry, but I've been after it for a very long time. So the deal with that is it basically out of stock. There was no stock on it, and it was on Amazon.com for a really expensive price. And then there was like a $70 customs fee and then tax to go along with that. So it was like almost $400, and I was not paying that. So as soon as it came up, one in stock on Amazon.ca, I think I paid like $180 for it. I got it. I got home from camping, I opened up Amazon, boop, there it was, boom, bought it. And then I checked it 2 seconds after, sold out. So I apologize. I'm the guy that did it. Sorry. But anyways, my backpack has a spot inside of the tent now for life. I mean, that backpack, I love it. So it's going to be inside with me. I've got it positioned over there. I've got my top quilt over here. Nice big orange and gray down, guys. So this is going to be very, very comfortable. Unfortunately, let me reach behind me and get this for you guys. As mentioned at the beginning of the video, I ripped the stuff sack. So I have to repair this when I get home, unfortunately. My stove, when I slid it in and pulled it out, it actually cut the stuff sack. I'm very, very lucky that it did not damage the top quilt in any way. So definitely going to be packing the stove inside of the carry bag from now on. I'm going to be making a wax canvas bag for it that actually snaps over top. I have one for my Timberwolf stove, but I don't have one for the T1 Mini. So I think that's going to be in my project list, to-do list, I should say. So I can hear this almost bubbling away. So let me pour some more coffee here, guys. Right off the wood stove, right in the cup, right? Hopefully there's enough to even make it worth it. All right, so we had a little bit in there, and that's going to be my treat for this afternoon. So this evening I am going to be cooking right here on the stove. I do have a ramen dish that I'm going to be cooking. I usually don't do ramen anymore, but I actually brought some seafood, some fake seafood, not some real seafood, because that would not be good in these temperatures. But I'm going to be making that up right here and probably enjoy it over by the campfire or possibly inside the tent. I just wanted to give you guys this quick look at the inside because I do have some downtime right now. I'm just going to be relaxing inside of the tent. And I figured why not show you guys what it looks like. So 2 doors, vestibule, wood stove, nice porch area, sleeping area, and of course I'll show you guys the other view later on this evening, looking in towards the tent once I'm in here for the evening, get the lights on and whatnot. So far, I'm having a really great time, guys. I'm going to relax for a little while and I'll bring you guys back a little later on in the afternoon. All right, guys, it's been a few hours since the last time I checked in, and we're running out of light here, so it is supper time. We've probably got another hour of sunlight left, an hour and a half maybe. So I've got the wood stove stoked up full of wood right now. I'm waiting for those flames to really get building because the fire did go out and I had to relight it. So while that's doing that, I want to explain what I've got for supper tonight. So I brought 1 tiny red onion. I have 2 tortilla wraps in this big old bag, so I did bring the entire bag, and this is basically going to be my garbage collection bag, and then I'll be able to stuff it in my backpack when I hike out of here tomorrow. So 2 tortilla wraps, a red onion. I have 4 individual sticks of this artificial crab meat, and then I have a seafood party mix of ramen noodles. That's basically supper right there. So I'm going to be eating it out of my titanium plate. Hopefully I'll be able to kind of cook it all up and get it in here because this is going to be too much for the 750. However, I am going to be cooking my noodles in my 750 ml pot on the stove. So let's head over there and get this cooked up, and then I'll be able to, once that's on the stove, come back over here, cut up my onion, cut up my crab meat, get that ready to add in afterwards. So first things first, let's get these noodles cooked up. Okay guys, supper time is all finished up and I am definitely full, very, very full. So I was just doing a very thorough cleanup. I cleaned every dish and every ounce of food because that was seafood and onion, a lot of spices. And that's probably the last thing that I want to leave laying around camp later on this evening because I don't want any visitors in camp. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to be lighting the outdoor fire in just a moment, but I want to show you guys this view of the tent before it gets too dark to show you in good detail, because I have a few things going on here that I usually don't do. So right up top, I do have my light bulb light that I usually bring with me. I have it hung on the outside of the mesh inner, and I've done that by running the wire up around the elastic. And then I've just come down the side of the mesh inner, and I've got the cable down here. So when I'm inside of the tent later on this evening, I'll be able to zip that zipper all the way over and right up to that wire. Now, if you look way back in the tent, I do have another dome light back there. That's a battery operated, where it's not going to actually plug into a battery bank. This one right here above me needs to plug into my battery bank, and I've got that situated in here as well. I just pulled it out of the sun because I was topping off a little bit of power there where it does have a solar panel on top. So that is ready to go for the evening. I then have my flashlight and my headlamp inside, along with my change of clothes on top of my backpack. Everything is ready to go for tonight. I do have to fill up my water bottle, which means later on this evening I am going to have to boil a pot of water on top of the stove to make sure that that's clean for drinking. And that's basically it. So I'm going to grab my stuff for Flint and Steel and get over towards the fire pit area. I just wanted to get all this buttoned up because I am going to be zipping this bug net closed. I'm noticing a few mosquitoes kind of buzzing around. So I want to get this out of the way and show you guys what's going on. I'm going to grab my Flint and Steel and go light the outdoor campfire now. Just got to zip this up really quick. Okay guys, so what I've got going on here is my Flint and Steel kit, and what I have inside of it is an old high carbon steel file. I have the tin full of char cloth. I have a flint rock, and the lid has a tiny hole in it to help make char cloth. So you just screw it on there, place it over the fire and make char cloth. Now this is already full, ready to go. I've got a piece of birch bark which I like transferring my ember into to blow it into a flame and then transfer it into the fire pit. And I've got my knife, which I'm going to use to kind of rough some of this up. So I'm just going to cut this down to a strip, because I don't need it very big. And we'll toss that off to the side. I like doing just a tiny little strip like this. I'm going to rough up the outside of the tree. So this is the outside of the tree. That's the inside of the tree. You guys can maybe see the difference in color there. I'm going to rough out the outer bark. Just a tiny bit. Nothing crazy. And basically, I have a little bit of hairs on the outside now that are going to grab that ember a little bit better. Place that down. So I've got my file and I've got my flint rock, and holding on to it, if that picks up on camera, a lot of sparks are starting to fly there. So make sure none of them went in the tin. So what I like to do is I like to grab a fairly large piece of, there's two ways you can do this. You can grab a fairly large piece of char cloth. Now this stuff is incredibly delicate, and you'll end up disintegrating it if you work with it too much. And to be quite honest, it looks like everything in this tin has been smashed around quite a bit. It's been in here for a little while, but there are a few pieces here that are still whole sheets. So I make my char cloth out of cotton t-shirts. So any old shirts, I just cut it, rip it up, throw it in, make my char cloth that way. You can use blue jeans, but the problem with using denim is it doesn't catch the delicate sparks like t-shirt material will. However, the denim is much more durable than the t-shirt material. So there's pros and cons there. Now, if you want to put it down on the ground and hopefully hit a spark into it, that's one method of doing it. What I like to do is kind of pinch it underneath of the rock and just kind of work that steel over top, and eventually you'll catch a spark and hopefully get a flame going with the birch bark. So let's try this out and see how many sparks or how many strikes it's going to take, because this stuff is going to disintegrate pretty quick. I'm going to have to make up a new batch. It's been in here since last fall, so a year. So let's give this a go. Alright, so I got an ember to land there. That was probably about 18 to 20 strikes. And like I said, this stuff is just disintegrating. Usually it doesn't take that long, but this stuff is just super, super delicate. It's really not working that great. So I have an ember going right here. I just placed it inside of the lid. What I like to do is take a fairly decent chunk. This stuff is burning very, very fast because it is old. So I'm just going to take a big chunk like that, and I'm basically just going to transfer the ember just by blowing on it like that. And now I've got the ember. Place it inside of my little birch bark burrito, as I like to call it. And I've got it situated in there. And now I can hand hold it. We'll even put this extra piece of bark on the outside just so I don't burn my hand. And from here, it's just blow it into a flame and transfer it into the fire. Very, very simple and satisfying method to make fire. It's also very quick if you're good at it. So we'll transfer that into the fire. I already have my fire lay ready from earlier on today, so of course that'll go up no problem. Toss a couple logs on there just to make sure we got some good fire. And that's Flint and Steel right there. So I figured I'd share a little bit of that information with you guys. Everyone has their own method of doing it. That's my method. Now, like I said, Char Cloth, making it out of a t-shirt, this was packed in there really tight. The whole top is just disintegrated from this file bouncing around inside of it because it's been in my backpack many times, it's been in the truck many times. So this stuff's pretty pulverized. I'm gonna have to make a new batch of it, and you can use a fire steel or even a little flint wheel from like a Bic lighter if you're out of fluid. And any tiny little spark going into Char Cloth will likely catch an ember, and then you can work it from there into a fire. So hopefully that was helpful to some of you guys. I just always find it fun to keep up on skill sets. Flint and steel, it's nice to keep up on it. Fire steels, different methods. I do have a box of matches with me today. I could have lit the fire in 2 seconds, but this right here is what I like to do to basically keep up on skills and also check your gear. So now I know dipping into this before winter hits, I need to replace the Char Cloth because it's really, really powdery. It's just not going to work. So having not used this, I would not have known that until I was out in the woods. So another little tip, get your gear out before cold season. So I'm going to let this catch, burn away, and I do got a load of hardwood and softwood down here. We'll get some of that stuff loaded on and let it burn nice and gentle, making sure no embers hit the tent. The sun is setting, so hopefully we'll have a nice evening out here. It's not sweater weather yet, so I'm hoping sitting right here in front of the fire I can stay out of my sweater for a while. All right, so nightfall is here. The sun has set. We got a little bit of color across the lake, which is actually pretty awesome. So the water is absolutely still. There are a few fish out there surfacing up, and you can see the rings, just massive, massive rings. That water is very, very still. So it is very quiet out here. I'm enjoying myself quite a bit, and I gotta say the temperature is still comfortable as long as I'm in between the fire and the tent without a sweater on. But as soon as I go off into the woods or down towards the edge of the lake, it is noticeably colder. So I'm gonna be parking my butt right here for probably an hour. I'm gonna let this burn down to a comfortable level. I'm gonna leave this door open for quite some time while I'm in the tent as well. So probably leave both open actually for quite a while. And then after my movie, my first movie, because I am gonna watch two, I'll peek on this, maybe come out for a bathroom break, and then go back in and maybe shut both doors down and call it a night and basically watch my second movie and fall asleep. So that's going to be my plans for the evening. I will bring you guys inside of the tent when I do head in there, so you guys can have a little bit of a look and basically say goodnight. Until then, I'm going to enjoy the campfire, and I'll catch up with you guys shortly. All right, guys. Well, it is nighttime now, and I am inside of the tent, and this is actually extremely cozy. So I gotta say, the amount of light that's coming off of this light bulb that's spilling out both doorways is totally illuminating the forest. So I can see off in that distance, I can see off in this distance, which is actually pretty awesome. So I really do enjoy using this quite a bit. Now, the way I've got it hung is I can actually lower it, or I can raise it up a little higher just by pulling on that wire. So I've got it set just below the zipper area, and I think that's going to do really well. I'm not going to hit my head on it or anything like that. And I do have another light back on the hook on the inner way back inside of the tent, so that'll illuminate both the front and the rear of the tent. And I gotta say, this is really comfortable. So I'm gonna be chilling out inside of here for quite a while. I'm gonna get out of these clothes because right here in front of the stove, it is extremely hot. And I don't want to be sweating in here tonight. So I'm gonna get out of these clothes. I got t-shirt, I've got new socks, I've got a change of pants in there. And I got my top quilt for later on for when the stove goes out. And all in all, I think it's going to be a very comfortable evening in here. So, and actually there are a couple mosquitoes, so I do need to get this zipped up rather quickly. So I'm going to say goodnight to you guys. I want to start on my first movie and leave these doors open just like this and enjoy a little bit of the nightlife. And then my second movie, I'm going to jump out for a bathroom break like I was saying earlier, and basically jump back in, zip the door shut, and off to sleep. So good night, guys, and I'll see you first thing in the morning for coffee. Good morning, guys. It is a beautiful morning out here. We got some beautiful golden morning sunrise light just coming in right across the lake. Got both doors open right now, so I've got a nice cross breeze coming through here, and absolutely beautiful this morning. So I've got a hot cup of coffee on the go right now. I've got probably another cup inside of the French press, and I also brought 2 packs of oatmeal. So I've got apple cinnamon and I've got regular. I've got these both opened and ready to go, and I have the water needed for that inside of my kettle. The problem is, not really a problem, but those are all the dishes that I have. So I have to finish up my coffee before I can have my oatmeal, because I need the French press to actually eat my oatmeal out of, or my 750 pot, I should say. So I'm going to enjoy my coffee for a little while, and the heat coming from the stove last night was just amazing. And even right now, it is a cool breeze coming through here, but it is so inviting and absolutely worth packing a larger tent with the stove. So I'm going to enjoy my morning routine. I do need to get some wood in there though. So I didn't go through a whole lot of firewood last night. It was hot in here. It was very, very hot. So the temperatures did get down to plus 7 degrees Celsius, so a little warmer than anticipated. That's still pretty chilly air though, especially coming off the lake. So I didn't load a whole lot of wood in here. And the entire tent, just the heat with this tent design where I modified it to be a hot tent. The bottoms I left wide open. I didn't add any snow skirts on the bottom because I didn't want to close it in. I wanted a nice transitional season tent. However, I use this in the winter time when it's negative 20 degrees Celsius with this exact stove, and this tent still gets plenty hot. So this is really nice with the heat being able to kind of loft around the tent. This is a double wall tent, so this inner is actually removable, which means there's a big air gap in between the mesh inner and the outer tent. So the air just travels up and over the tent, making this hot bubble. And it's very, very comfortable, especially in the wintertime. But right now, with the nice cool breeze coming through, it's also very comfortable. So I'm gonna let that burn away, and I'm gonna sip on my coffee, and once I'm all finished up with that, I'm gonna start on oatmeal, and I'm gonna continue enjoying the sunrise is what I'm gonna do right now with some coffee. So cheers, guys, and it's almost oatmeal time. Okay guys, everything is packed inside of the bag, and I gotta say, it went pretty well. So I did my classic lone wolf, just throw it in the backpack and deal with it when we get home. The stove is inside of the hydration sleeve, of course. I've got the pipe and the poles, everything contained inside except for my gloves on the outside and my saw. So everything went really, really well. Now there is one more thing I have to do. I've got to grab my kettle, which is just back here, and extinguish this fire to make sure it's totally out, and then basically throw the kettle inside and off I go. So all in all, I want to say thank you guys very much for watching the video. If you have any questions or comments, drop it down in the comment section and I'll definitely get back to you on that. Until next time, peace out, and I'm out of here, guys. See you later.